folks. It is Friday, pre-Super Bowl Friday. We are excited. It is a hyped weekend here. But this is another episode of We Have the High Ground, the show that's apparently all about lists, finding out who has the best list and opinions on everything in the Star Wars universe. Joining me as always is my boy, the Sheriff of Nottingham himself, Bogz. How's it going, buddy?
I'll take that. Not bad. You're my maid Marion if I'm the Sheriff of Nottingham. Yeah, man, all good. You know, we're listing this every week. You know, whilst keeping busy, whilst we've got until new shows come out, until kind of significant news drops. Then yeah, we're dropping lists on you. So yes, good list today. A tough one, very tough. You know, it's the top. The top 5, what we call it, the cringiest moments?
Cringiest moments.
Okay, so top 5 cringiest moments. So mine, I'll be honest with you, spoilers, mine are all just because like the sheer, I don't know, love I have for it. I can't criticize certain things, but mine are all like CG related, like kind of thing. So as opposed to like character related or acting related. So yeah, I've copped out a little bit, but I'm still interested to see your guys. So but we've got
actual moments in the film. So
yeah. And of course, our guest returning as always, almost in every other, if not every other, whenever. It's the master, Matt Thomas. How's it going, bud?
You know, I finally got to pop these out and watch them in pure 4K, not that streaming 4K shit.
Nice.
So it was nice to finally have a reason to watch them again. So I'm doing good.
By the way, mine and Colin's lists are all moments are all from the movies.
Yeah,
yours?
So
okay, cool. Just wondering. But
so
yeah, it's too deep, man, to go into.
Clone Wars. Because we would just have a top 5 Clone Wars moments.
Yeah,
exactly. It would just be all Clone Wars moments. Yeah, it'd be ridiculous. But to explain how this works, on We Have the High Ground, we have a few simple rules. I'm going to start with my number 5. We will carry over to Matt, and then we will go over to Bogz. If either Matt or Bogz have my number 5 in their top 3, 2. I thought it was 2 if we have a 3, and it was 3 if we have 5.
No, I just prefer 2 because it's
more
of a jump, isn't it? So yeah.
Okay, so top 2. If my 5 is in their top 2, all the way up to 2, so that could be my 5, my 4, or my 3. They say Bogz.
I have the high ground, baby.
And then we move on to the next topic. So that's how it works. So without further ado, we'll start with my number 5. Well, you got a boyfriend? Cute boyfriend?
Oh, okay.
One of this is Finn, episode 7, helping Rey try to find the right wrench and the tape and all that stuff. And he cuts in with one of the weirdest lines. You got a boyfriend? Cute boyfriend? I've never heard boyfriend uttered in any Star Wars property ever. Never been mentioned ever. And I'm just like, did he just say boyfriend? Who wrote this? Me? Like somebody write this and like when they were like 10 years, I was just so confused. Yeah, I cringed. Easy cringe moment because it takes you out of it and you're like, oh, this is weird. This is too kind of relatable. I don't know. It was too much. Bogz, you don't like these movies.
Yeah, so I mean, I could have, like, Colin, like I could have put all my 5 from one movie in particular. I didn't. I could have. That was my initial iteration of it, but I didn't. But yeah, like that moment, to be honest with you, I do cringe at it now. I did find it funny, like really funny the first time I saw it because it was really unexpected and it's like quite a normal modern obviously thing, and this is a galaxy far away. Clearly they don't mention anything like that, and it did literally throw me off, and I just thought it was just a nice, like, because that whole scene was really quick, like Rey and Finn kind of she's fighting off them guys trying to chase her, and then she kind of rolls over with him, like it's like a weird scene, right? And then she's cute boyfriend. I was like, so it was kind of like nice in the moment, but the more I have seen it, yes, I definitely agree, it is cringe, doesn't fit in the world, but I did like it on my initial watch, I gotta be honest.
I cringe because of the language, but I still laugh at it. Like just because it's just one of those things, and people will still say to this day, we don't know which way he meant that, and it's like, whichever way he meant it. I don't care. It's it's a fleeting moment. Doesn't bug me in the slightest.
The more controversial moment of that scene is whether or not BB-8 gives him a thumbs up or flicks him off, which I really love him giving him the middle finger. Because that to me is like, no, dude, screw you. Like, I'm not helping you with anything. Like, droid, please, is what it, like that. That is something that it should be cringy, but when you watch it back, it's not. It fits completely. It rolls right off the tongue.
That's probably the funniest in the movie.
Yes, that's one of the funniest interactions of the film. I'll give you that. Yeah. Matt, your number 5.
This is technically it's all one scene, but it's intercut between another scene, and that is anything Jar Jar Binks in the Battle of Naboo.
Okay, not on my list.
I will always defend The Phantom Menace as the best prequel because it is the most like the original trilogy in tone. But Jar Jar and his accidentally winning the Battle of Naboo in all those multiple ways still just doesn't sit well with me at all.
Yeah, but for me in that it's Anakin. It's like in the cringy stuff is like the reactions in the cockpit, but that's my boy. So it was
right, exactly. I couldn't
really be mad at it. What you really got me mad at is like the Naboo pilots who like definitely don't do their job. Like you guys get outshone by a like 9-year-old kid.
Yeah, 9-year-old.
Yeah, 9-year-old. Yeah, like come on now, Bogz. I know you don't like these movies either. No, Bogz loves this, but he kind of had a face when you said the tone of the original trilogy.
So I kind of get what you mean. In terms of the tone.
It's the one that, because the thing I love about the original trilogy is the tone of hope it brings.
Yeah, the adventure element.
The adventure and the hope. And that's the only one of the 3 prequel films that has the same tone.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
That's fair. Yeah, so that scene, yes. But I don't think like Jar Jar actually like wins the war. He does survive weirdly.
Jar Jar like
where he trips over and like managed to catch things, and the little
oh, you mean holding on to the back
plasma
of
bombs is
and
he pulls it down, all that stuff. It's more eye rolling stuff. It's kids stuff. I wouldn't necessarily call it cringe. I mean, it's very played for kids and played for laughs. I wouldn't necessarily call it cringe, but I do understand.
I'm not laughing, and I have a Jar Jar figure.
Damn.
Yeah.
Bogz. Oh, sorry. If you have one more thing. I was
gonna say I don't. There's more cringe Jar Jar moments for me personally, but that's I understand your point. Yeah.
Your number 5, my friend.
Yes, my number 5 is from A New Hope. It's particularly the special edition when Greedo shoots first.
That's fine. That's cool.
In the cantina. So yeah, obviously, via the special edition re-release, he clearly shoots first in a really bad CG element. Like Han Solo does like a weird neck thing to like avoid the blaster bolt going into the wall. Like he does like this neck thing, and it's clearly like a wide shot, even though like they're literally sitting across the table and he misses. Like there's just no need for it. Like Han doesn't have to shoot first. Like, it was so cool when he blasted him under the table, flicks the coin at the bartender and says, "Yeah, sorry about the mess." You're like, "Whoa, this guy is sick!" Like that's like a wicked, awesome introduction to a scoundrel into this world where we're in, like this lived-in world. Like, why do you need to do something where he shoots second? Like, I just don't get it. Like, it's just weird, and particularly the CG in the scene is so bad. The shot is awful. He literally does this weird neck movement. Like, I watched it so many times yesterday. It's really bad. But yeah, that's a complete cringe scene for me. So yeah.
See, I didn't have that, but I also you got to remember, compared to Colin and I, you're the elder statesman here. So you got to grow up with the original cuts. You got to see those before you saw the special editions. My first interaction with Star Wars was 2 years old, seeing the special editions when they were re-released in 1997. So it wasn't until I was around the age of 5 when my dad pulled out the VHSs of the theatrical cuts and I saw Han didn't shoot first.
Oh well, for me, I love it. I don't love Han not shooting first. I love Han shooting first. So like I saw the theatrical cuts first, and so I was like, so to me, I remember the re-release on the VHS with the gold box, and I'm like, the hell is this shit? I'm not cool with it. So yeah, it definitely. If you want to go original trilogy stuff, like that's definitely one of them. I'm down with that. My number 4. Yoda Force pushing the Emperor over his chair. When you see the Emperor flip over the chair and like, and is just ridiculous. This dude is the Emperor of the universe. He's the most powerful Sith that's existed in the last like 500 years. My boy can balance up. Like, come on now. Like, I know you just got like low-key electrocuted by Mace Windu upstairs. No, in your office, right there on the windows. The windows are all gone. Why isn't there a draft in there? Weird. But like, it to me, that scene is just so weird. Everything about it is so weird. Like, I think it's more cringy than, which we talked about this in our group chat this week, than Yoda fighting Dooku in episode 2, because that's more believable that would happen. Like, Yoda going all out like that and then being like, oh no, I'm real fucking tired now. I'm gonna take a nap. And he's like real tired and he just like walks away with his cane. You're like, oh, I believe that. Here it's like, I'm supposed to believe you're gonna win this?
The most powerful Sith ever.
And you're gonna win? And then he just knocks you out of his chair. To me, I'm just... And I love that movie. I love Revenge of the Sith. It's so much fun. And it's just a good entry in the saga, but that's just so unnecessary.
I agree with you there. I wish I had thought of that one, actually. I will say this. I've come around more to Revenge of the Sith because of Clone Wars Season 7.
True.
I do only now watch the 4-hour cut of that movie, which has the final 4 episodes of Season 7 cut, and it's beautiful. I don't know if that is fantastic. It is worth the watch. You like to download it if you want. And but I agree. Just the moments. There are several moments in that film. Like, for one, you shall be known as Vader. And people, I laugh as people cringe on Solo moment, and so it's like, y'all weren't saying the same shit about Vader from Revenge of the Sith, really?
True. Bogz, defend it. I dare you.
I don't have to. I mean, it's my 4th favorite Star Wars movie outside the original trilogy. So, I absolutely love that scene where he battles the Emperor. When they're spinning the whole what do they call it, like the seat things in the political throne place. I love it. He did exactly. He did push him. It was a bit funny. Like, it still is a bit funny when he pushed him and kind of his throat goes over his head and like he falls back in the chair. Yeah, it is a little bit funny, but like just before that, like I just love the way Yoda comes in and he force pushes them, the Royal Guards back against the walls, like just as like a lift of a hand, and I love that. So
Grogu-esque.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, Yoda was doing that 20 years before Grogu, so well, technically in that timeline it was like on the same day, but the absolutely love that Revenge of the Sith scene and last few minutes. But yeah, I do understand him falling back in the chair. It was a bit hit him well and all that. Yeah, so but
Matt,
I overall love that movie. So
you're number 4, sir.
The Ben and Ray kiss.
I think Bogz is gonna have the high ground on that. Oh
no, not mine. You know what? No, go ahead, Matt.
Here's the thing. I was one of those people, like, really, the guy who's just been mentally and emotionally abusing her now gets her for a kiss and then he fucking dies. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And it was like, oh, I revived her. I get a kiss. No, just. And I've always been more the side of, I know people hate John Boyega for that video he posted a year ago, or the tweet where it's not about who gets the kiss, it's about who gets that ass, basically, is in lesser terms. So,
I just don't think this movie exists. I don't know what movie you guys are talking about. So I plead the 5th on anything involving this movie.
I love that
I
movie
have a
so
future
much.
of maybe working at Lucasfilm one day.
I love that movie. There's only 2 movies I don't like in the entire series, and that's Attack of the Clones, and that's the Clone Wars movie.
So hold on, Mike. Wait. We've got to address this. So you don't like it when Vader gets knighted by the Emperor, but you like Rey. Well, you like some parts of the Rise of Skywalker over this stuff in Revenge of the Sith.
Revenge of the Sith.
Really, you don't mean that.
Much lower on my list. Actually,
you don't really mean that though, Matt.
I do though. I own.
Oh, funny taste.
Look at it this way. I spent $400 on a Rey lightsaber that appeared for a minute, if that.
Yeah. No.
All right, Bogz. There's nothing we can do here. The man is lost. Please, Bogz.
Okay, so that's
no. Tear him up. Tear up the Ben and Rey kiss, because I know you don't like it. Just tear him up.
It's more the actual kiss moment. I'm okay with. It's the immediate death afterwards is the issue. Like, I wanted to, like, as soon as they kind of team up, I'm thinking, okay, like, is he gonna survive? Like, what's gonna happen? Like, what would are they gonna have like their own Jedi Academy? Like, what is Ben gonna do now? And then all this, as you're thinking that mid-thing, he just falls back and dies. Yeah, so it is like literally.
Can we talk about how his last words will forever be "ow"?
Yeah, like he doesn't speak. As soon as he turns, like after he speaks to Solo, right, Han Solo, he doesn't speak.
He just says "ow." He says,
yeah,
and that's it.
I know, that's super annoying because you want to hear him, like as Ben, addressing the Emperor and that kind of stuff. Like, but obviously it doesn't happen. He just dies, and yeah,
the kiss of death about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, ridiculous kiss of death, and yeah, it is definitely a cringe moment. And I think I watched it maybe 3 times in the cinemas, and the first 10. Time, no one, yeah,
10?
Yeah,
that's bad, man.
I saw Force Awakens.
I saw Attack of the Clones 11 times just because my parents were going through a divorce. So I could get anybody to do what I wanted.
Force Awakens 33.
What?
33.
But did you have an AMC pass? Please tell you had movie pass or something.
No,
that's like 300 plus.
I saw it. So there's a theater locally where
you got like a sub portion of like the Wikipedia page that's like how much you contributed to that movie to it being successful.
I know.
No,
like 0.000.
There's a theater locally, and I buy a ticket to like the first show and I theater hop all day.
I think I saw it 7 times. So I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say like I didn't see it an absurd amount of times.
Last Jedi was 9. And I'm like, I love
33 times.
33 times.
That's more. That's like one a day, more than once a day.
The last time I saw Force Awakens in theaters, I knew, and I made sure that was the last time, was when it was in town on the IMAX screen at the Science Center in the 70mm cut. So like it was across the entire curved screen, and I'm just sitting here with Nick, and Nick's like, I hit that, I have to tip my head back. I'm like, shut the fuck up and enjoy how big this is.
Well, that brings us to Bogz's number 4.
We're back with A New Hope. It's again another CG moment in the special edition cut. It's when Han Solo steps over Jabba the Hutt's tail. It's so bad.
Colin, you muted yourself instead of unmuting yourself.
It's so weird. It's so weird. It's so weird. It's so weird. There's nothing other than weird. Everything that George Lucas does in this, it's so weird. It is so not needed.
Can I say an honorable mention from that is the Jawa hanging off of that creature after falling off of it when they're first arriving in the
CG. Everything added in the drive up to meeting the stormtroopers as well. In anything in Mos Eisley that was not there in the theatrical cut is just unnecessary.
Yeah, you can tell it doesn't fit or doesn't belong or wasn't there. You can just, it's so obvious. But yeah, in particular this, like, like there's just an only, and it's awful. Like the way he goes over the actual Jabba, his CG is really bad. On top of that, the way he goes over, and it's like a literally student movie. The way he goes over the tail,
it's like they just pulled him up and down.
I will say the CGI for what it is in 1 and 4, I guess, is kind of what it is. It's close because it's closer to what Jabba looks like in the Phantom Menace. Yeah. But
even that's from a distance.
Right.
Like close
so
up
what I'm getting to is the style of it is more like the textures that they put in Clone Wars. Right? Like they're kind of slick, right? But then when you see him in 6, he's
awesome.
Huge. He's awesome. He's like,
none
of that texture. George, you need to redo these. Like, if you want to keep redoing them, keep fucking redoing them, dude. Because then you should have you should have Jabba looking like a champ in 4. He looks like booty. You go back and look at that kid, you're like, what in the hell up is this?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
It
what
ruins
is
the
this?
reveal how he is in Return of the Jedi, and you see him here, you're like, oh, he's not. He's not.
That's
But
like
when you see
saying
Return
like
of the
Darth
Jedi,
Vader being
he's a gangster.
CG. That's like real. That's like going back, and they might as well have like changed Darth Vader and Ben Kenobi to have a cooler fight at the end of Episode 4. You might as well just do that. Why? It's the same movie. Ben's still gonna die.
Yeah, definitely ruins the reveal for me. But
I agree with you. Colin's talking about how there's not as much texture and all that, and that's part of my issue when I go back and watch the prequels, because with each time they update the graphics, everything just loses texture. Like I hate watching, even though I did watch them in 4K for this, I hated watching them because like Jar Jar looks even worse. I watched the standard edition, and like the original
looks
DVD
better.
release, it looks better. It's just like they don't update these graphics when they update the film. It's annoying.
There are textures that can be upgraded. There are textures that don't translate to the new software, and there's just things that they have to leave, and that's unfortunate because Matt, you were talking yesterday. We were talking about Lord of the Rings. We were talking about Lord of the Rings. Gollum's the same way. There are some scenes where Gollum is just going to stick out. The one that even stuck out from the original translation of DVD to Blu-ray was the scene in Fellowship of the Ring. Was when Gollum first pops up and you see his eyes. It was a little wonky because it was the first one that they did, right? And you see him kind of just like perching. It just didn't look good.
Just wait until they get captured in Two Towers by Bogz.
I can him by the water. I can already see that's not a good scene.
No, not him by the water. I'm talking about when Frodo and Sam initially get captured when they're watching them attack the Oliphants. And
okay,
it's not pretty.
Well, back to the Star Wars, the CGI. It's just that unfortunately for George, he look. If you care that much, you do all of it or you do none of it, because there's just some stuff that just doesn't hold up. And here's another thing that doesn't hold up. My number 3.
Okay.
No. It's because I'm so in love with you. So love has blinded you?
Bogz is over here like, man, fuck y'all. Just fuck y'all.
I can't even get through it. Matt, take it away.
I literally added two of my things on this list just so I wouldn't piss off Bogz and have all prequel things. That was under consideration.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I'm not blind.
That dude was not the Anakin from the Clone Wars cartoon.
Sure. I mean, these are George's mistakes, in front of, the world to see, but
billions of people.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can't get past that, it's bad dialogue, it's kind of bad acting, but the pluses in that movie make it up for me. So I choose to ignore it, to be honest, but no, it's fair.
Yeah, it's kind of, I've created my ultimate cuts of the films where it's like The Last Jedi is one of the best movies ever if you take all of the
Finn and Rose stuff out.
Yeah, basically it's going to be absolutely it's a great movie if you take all that out. If you take all their love stuff out, and like his reaction to the pregnancy. No, this is a happy moment. You're like, what in the world is going on here? You are a sociopath. You do not know how to react to things at all.
My dad and I have the same opinion. Revenge of the Sith doesn't become a good movie until that Vader turn. When he becomes Vader that's what everyone was expecting from the entire trilogy. And then everything before that is just what we...
I'm with you there. Bogz, defend your boy.
Definitely not with him there. I mean, like this, even the opening scene in Revenge of the Sith, man. Come on, with the space scene, that's arguably the best space fight battle in Star Wars.
It was a great opening, but there's not a good space fight there.
With what's his name? With Anakin and Obi-Wan against Dooku, I liked, and when he's caught, I love that stuff, man. Like another happy landing.
My powers have doubled since the last time we met, Count.
Listen, I'm not gonna
happy landing. Really, you're trying to defend another happy
I like another happy landing. I'm a fan of another happy landing.
Well,
honestly, at least we're still flying really half a ship.
I honestly really like Obi-Wan and Anakin's banter and their kind of camaraderie and their Master and Apprentice stuff.
I'm not talking like their stuff was the best part of that movie. I'm just talking about in general, just like 1, 2, and the first half of 3 is like nowhere near the Star Wars anyone expected to get. But what you got with the second half of 3 is what people thought that entire trilogy
Exactly.
was.
So we'll trim the fat and we get back. So mine, no, it's because I'm in love with you. We don't need. Matt, what else don't we need? What's number 3 for you?
I got the Finn and Rose kiss.
I almost put it on. I knew you were gonna do it, so I almost put it
on. I'm not gonna lie. I've when it came to relationships, I always felt like the Finn and Rey relationship made the most sense. They're the ones that
it's Finn and Poe. I believe you misspoke. Poe.
So no, I was fine with Finn and Poe, but I'm just saying, like of the forced relationships that they were gonna do in Trevorrow's script, which was Poe and Rey. Fuck, that sunk that script like a motherfucker. Then you had the Bay.
That's why Finn was all in. He was like, I was gonna get the booty. Y'all don't even know. I saw this script. It was gonna be lit.
I have the script. Poe's the one who got the booty. Poe got the booty in the Trevorrow script. Finn stuck with Rose. And
no,
but yeah, but I'll send you a copy of the script.
I need to hear what Bogz has to say because I just love listening to Bogz rail in episode 8.
So, yeah, you finished, Matt, by the way.
But it's just the whole react. Like she kissed him, and he's just like, "What the fuck you just kissed me for, bitch?"
That's exactly what it is, man. Yeah. Like when I first saw it, I could not believe John Boyega's face. I was like, it's like an outtake. Like he's clearly like, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah, she's like, oh yeah, save you. Whatever she says, whatever the line is, I'll save you. We've got to save the ones we love, whatever. And she kisses him. He doesn't even kiss her back. She kisses her lips, and he's like, what? Like, what are you doing? I couldn't believe it, man. It's it nearly made my list, but I thought, okay, let me not.
Literally, I would. The look, because I was in the episode 9 panel at the celebration, the look on his face when he was like, Finn's a free agent, he was just so happy. He's like, I ain't got to do none of this shit right now.
Because I didn't even think that was coming throughout the movie. Like, obviously they had a little, they were thrown together, this little connection, canter bite, whatever. But I didn't think like she was going to kiss him. Like, where did that even come from? Like, it was super strange. It was like a random. Yeah, because he's literally going after Rey the whole movie. So you think, oh, okay, he's got a thing for Rey, and then all of a sudden, Rey! It was literally the most spoken phrase in the whole sequel trilogy. But anyway, so that's my 3, right?
We're doing year 3.
Yeah, we're on the year 3.
So we're sticking with The Last Jedi, of course, and I'm going to go with the opening of The Last Jedi, the opening sequence with kind of mainly Poe and Hux.
I love that scene.
So oh my God, okay, and let me go, and then you go. So obviously the ending, episode 7, that left me so. Episode 8 was probably the most hyped movie I've ever been in my life. So I'd say episode 8, I'd say Endgame, and I'd say episode 7 are the 3 most so unbelievably excited I've been in my life for a movie. And then obviously it starts off it doesn't start off with that kind of a continuation of that end scene. It starts off obviously in this battle, so initially that threw me off, and then you hear this exchange, man, where Poe calls General Hux, I'm holding for General Hux, and you're like, okay, and then you hear, and then obviously it continues, and Hux is saying, doing the whole phone thing. I can hear you. Can you hear me? I remember looking around at this, like what the fuck are they doing? Like is this like a crap Marvel movie that I'm watching? So yeah, obviously it continued on, but. I did like in terms of the battle stuff. I did like some of it, and I did really like the Paige Tico stuff. I thought that was cool. They built tension there, and the whole bomber kind of bombs dropping and stuff. So I did like that stuff on the Dreadnought. So yes, but it was mainly the dialogue and how Hux was like almost an idiot in the scene, and like talking about his mother, and I was like, what the, like it just didn't fit for me, and it still doesn't. So yeah, go ahead.
The mother part and Hug seeming like an idiot, yes, I can agree with, but just getting Poe is that smart ass, similar to how Han would be. It's why I love that scene, and then how you see him fucking. Basically burn out in an X-wing. I was like,
to be fair, yeah, like I understand that it's not Poe is the issue, it's Hux is the issue. Like Hux is, I compare him to like Tarkin. Like, would you ever see Tarkin behaving or saying things like that?
Yeah,
No,
but he's not Tarkin.
Guy.
His dad was Tarkin.
His dad was Tarkin.
His dad was Tarkin. He's never going to live up to his dad's expectations. That kind of fits.
I'm a rat. He's like, I'm a rat who I'm going to do what I have to do to survive and float in the sewer. That's what Hux was.
But he wasn't really like that in the first movie. He was a bit, he's undermining, trying to obviously overstep Kylo Ren and stuff. But he's Snoke's right-hand man, in effect, for the First Order anyway. And he just turned into an idiot in Episode 8. So, yeah, I mean, it's cringe for me. But, okay. That's me anyway. But what about you, Colin?
See, for me, the Poe stuff works because that's the Poe you get in Star Wars Resistance. He just fucking talks. That's all Poe does is talk. Poe does not shut up about anything. He will talk his way through any situation. And he's already anxious and nervous about it because he knows he's going against protocol. He knows he's probably going to get in trouble for this. And so he's just going to go out there and do it. The Hux stuff is a bit... I can hear you. Can you hear me? It is a bit overplayed. It's like we're in two different movies here. And yeah, I get your total... I get the Marvel sentiment as well because it's weird. It is definitely weird. But I'm not as mad about it, but I do think it is.
And also,
it could have been handled differently, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you just touched on something else there that I didn't like in the opening that I forgot, was that just the way how Poe is so disregarding of instructions and stuff. Like, Leia is telling him to back down. Leia is the general of resistance. She's this princess. She's an icon. And he just switches her off. And then everyone is all of a sudden listening to Poe. He's a pilot. Like, you've got the general of the resistance there.
He's a high-ranking...
No, I know, but not more than Leia, right? Like, it's just
but he's the one that's been in the field with the resistance building up because they were in the New Republic. I know, but they were in the New Republic. Like his fleet's his fleet.
His fleet is his fleet.
His squadron, not his fleet. It's really his squadron.
Sure.
And because of I have the entire run of Poe Dameron comics. That is who he is. People have that much respect for him, and realistically, people want to be like, oh, he didn't listen to Leia. If he had listened to Leia, they'd be all fucking dead right now.
True.
Well, no, because he killed them all. Well, no, he didn't kill them all, but they all died. A lot. Well, half the fleet was lost in that battle again with the dreadnoughts.
Bogz, listen to me. If Poe didn't do what he did, the dreadnought survives. They follow them in hyperspace, and everything has to happen no matter what.
So the First Order is following them with more firepower than they already had instead of having
had any fuel.
Exactly.
So they wouldn't have been able to fight that fight. They would have died.
Unfortunately, it's a bad thing that happens that puts them in a weird situation. It's a thing that has to happen for the movie to move on. And moving on to my number 2.
Yes,
wow,
number 2.
We're moving up this list. This is a fast episode, folks. We can talk a little at the end about the High Republic book I started, so we can cap off with that if we move through this a little quick, because none of us are jumping each other, so it's kind of fun. My number 2, Anakin and Padme's date on Naboo. If this isn't on somebody's list, I'm gonna be mad as hell. It's only on none of y'all's list.
Which part of the date? Because
when we're in the field, and we're talking about we're talking about the foreign exchange program and Paolo and Anakin's getting all frustrated about some dude that he doesn't even know, and I'm like
10 years ago.
Oh my god, she's really trying to egg him on, and she knows what she's doing.
And him riding the back of that cow ass creature.
Oh, so weird.
Yeah, and then he gets hurt, and then she comes, and then they roll over, and it's fun, and it's like it's cute. It's kind of cute. Yeah, I mean.
It's not.
He's not.
And then Anakin low-key pitches the Empire to her.
Yep.
He definitely low-key pitches how the Empire ends up working. He's like, none of this works. I would have all of them answer to me. This is stupid.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
He's a troubled guy, actually.
Look, he's a real troubled dude. He needs therapy. He got told from 9 years old that he was the chosen one. So, I mean, imagine. He's like Kanye. Wow. Did I just make the greatest metaphor of all time? Anakin is Kanye.
If you want.
Matt, take it away. You're number 2.
In response to that, I will say that's what I love about Harry Potter, because they're like, he was thrust onto the chosen one, like he didn't know from this. He it's a 7-year span, not this 12-year span. So he doesn't have that ego grow. So, and the moment you do see it, Hermione hits him in the head with a book.
Oh yeah, he's like, well, I am the chosen one. Whack. You're number 2, sir.
You know, the most memed moment ever in Star Wars. Sand. It's coarse. It's rough. It gets everywhere.
It's everywhere.
No, just.
There's nothing more that needs to be said. Just sand. Sand. Bogz. Sand.
I love the scene. No, I don't really. It's just no. It's for me. These are the throwaway lines. They don't have much of an impact. They're like, yeah, okay, they're not great dialogue. It's poorly written, obviously, but it's just like,
it's
yeah,
not
okay,
throwaway
cool.
when they focus 1/3 of the story on that. That's not throwaway. That is him flirting, and it's shit.
1/3. I don't know. That's I don't know. That's a bit of a stretch.
1/3. Their entire time together is roughly 1/3 of that movie.
It would be different if Luke had a moment where he was like, nah, fuck this sand, like in the original trilogy, and then Anakin would be like, nah, fuck this sand, and be like, oh, like father like son. But no, it was just like, hey, I'm sitting here tinkering with my speeder, and I'm like, nah, fuck this sand. I'm done with this.
No. It's a random line, definitely a random line in the movie, but yeah, I mean, I'm not offended by it. I mean, I'm much more annoyed with other stuff that I'll talk about, but no,
it's more of how it leads. It's more of how it's like, it's that story about sand that then hypes him up into how mad he gets to talking about the sand people.
Yeah.
It's like, does he really hate the sand people, or does he just hate that there's sand in their name? Bogz,
sure.
You're number 2.
Number 2, I'll give you a spoiler. We're sticking with The Last Jedi, okay, for the rest of my list. Okay, I'm so sorry, guys. But number 2, I think my list is indisputable, to be honest with you. I'm gonna try and convince you on each of these points, and I think that you
see, I'm gonna win you with my number 1, and you won't have a way to argue against it.
Okay, cool. So my number 2 is the Mary Poppins scene.
Get the fuck out of here. Go. Just leave.
You can't say that's good, man. No,
there's no Rebels first. It happened in Rebels first. If it didn't happen in Rebels first,
completely different. Completely different. You've seen Kanan, a Jedi in effect in his prime for years at this point. Well, I think that was season 3, right? I understand that you've seen it there. Okay, I understand that. But the actual, again, it's more the CG of it and just how awful it looks, and just like they just made it so, because again, the in this movie in particular, they made Leia uninteresting for me. Like, she was often ignored, just this like almost a throwaway character in the movie. And then they were like, okay, we're gonna do a Force scene here, like it. Like no. It's that, yeah. I just thought the actual CG was really bad, and it just looks weird. Like, it looks like she's weird in space. Never almost used the Force before. Obviously, little things here and there with Luke and stuff, but not that. They didn't earn that scene. And yeah, it was just completely like, I was just rolling my eyes in the theater watching it happen. And yes, I understand it happens in Rebels. I'm not got an issue with that. The Force use was fine to me in terms of it happening. Like, okay, like we've seen that before. Okay, that's legit. But it happened. Her doing it, the CG, unearned. I was just, because the whole movie, she's like, I made a note. It's like going to war with your auntie. That's what it's like in the whole ship, and how she was with Poe and Admiral Holdo. I just didn't like her the whole movie, and then it was that, and that was just the top of it, and I was like, look how ridiculous that is. It's literally Mary Poppins. So yes, I do not like that scene, or it's just cringe, man. It's just, that's literally a cringe scene to me. And yeah, so go ahead, Matt.
Here's my thing. I can't say it's not earned, because there's been 30 years between when we last saw these characters and when we're looking at them now. So I don't know what's gone on in that time. And then we find out in the next film a little bit of what happened during that time. So it's just a matter of, it made me more so, that scene made me wonder. I was like, whoa, why how is she doing this? Why is she doing this? I want to know more. Is the CGI the best? No, but I'm not going to sit here and say that that moment wasn't earned for her. So
I understand that. It's just that the what they actually done there. If it was something that she'd done that was like, oh my god, that's so amazing, but that was too far for me. It was too far. But go ahead, Colin.
I mean, yeah, I mean it's the same amount of like I just don't care as like, oh, the Emperor came back, cool.
Yeah,
it's just unfortunate. It's like, how does the Emperor come back? Oh, well, he did this to himself, and they loosely explain it. They do their best to loosely explain it. The only way that people are going to be happy with this is if you got like a 2-season Leia animated series between episodes 6 and 7 explaining how she decided to throw away life as a Jedi Master and become a politician again. So, I mean, it is what it is. You see it, and actually, shout out to The Expanse. We saw something like that this season where a character on the Amazon show leapt from a ship to another ship, just blind jumped with no mask on or anything, and then she had like a health pack that she like stabbed herself with that was like a little like revive thing. But the whole next episode she's suffering from the trauma of being out in open space. And then, of course, Leia wasn't out in open space. So it's like the surrounding space, which is still space, but it's like there's no oxygen in that surrounding area. But it is what it is. You can explain it away a billion times. It's all over the place. Wow. We've made it to the peak of the mountain.
Yeah.
My number one.
Most cringe moment in all of Star Wars?
Yeah, the blatant racism in episode 1. Annie, my boy! Oh, hello! Come on down!
No,
Misa, Uso! You gonna come down, Misa? We gonna go down to my city! We go down to Gungan City! Like, it's absolutely...
No, there are 2 of them!
Yes. Just over and over again, the blatant... Like, even if you want to span the whole prequels, you can go to, what's his name? Dex. Dex is just making fun of America, like making fun of like a New York diner owner, right? Like that's stereotypical, like you knew that. And it is so unnecessary because there's none of it in the original trilogy at all. There is, because they're all speaking other languages and there's subtitles. And that was one thing I always dug about Star Wars that just was lost until my man, Babu Freak brings it back. And he actually gets some, and he got some cool subtitles in there. But see, that's like a very like nondescript tone. That was very cool and it was fine. But you could have had like subtitles out the wazoo in episode 1 and it would have been awesome. And you could have had, because there were so many different characters, but instead they went straight to these racial stereotypes that are just uncalled for, over the top. One of them is with you the entire movie, Jar Jar Binks, and you cannot shake them because then you go down to Jar Jar Binks' Gungan City and there's more of them. It's a whole civilization. And you're like, no. And they've oppressed these people to underwater. And it's like, oh, the white man has again, like there's like a black person in the Naboo Force and he's like on our squad already. Meanwhile, this entire race of underwater Jamaicans is just like chilling and fine with being oppressed. So I can't hang with some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Bogz, you're the stand on this channel.
So yeah, I mean, so growing up, right, I honestly never realized this until I'm gonna say about 2 years ago. Until being a part of this online space, apart from maybe the I forgot who the 2 ambassadors again, the who you just did an impression of
the Trade Federation
separatist guys,
the viceroys of the Trade
the
Federation.
viceroy, sorry, the viceroys.
New Gunray.
I thought, why do these guys sound Asian? That's the only one that I was aware of. I swear to you, I did not know Jar Jar Binks was Jamaican until 2 years.
It was about.
I just thought it was a weird. Yeah, like, or I didn't know the Awato was supposed to be like a Jewish, an impression. Like, I had no idea. I only literally, I think, being involved in, like, honestly, I'm not being, prejudiced or anything like that, but like, I a part of being of this American reaction space, I never knew that. Like, it's not literally, I've never heard that addressed, but being a part of this community, it's like a highlighted issue. I was like, oh, okay, like, and I kind of see now that it's highlighted, but I never ever even entered my mind this these kind of
because
racist
like I don't
overtones.
want to have kids and then like have my kids watch these movies, and it's like I was going around as a kid. Oh, Mr. Jar Jar Binks, like me, like going around, like talking around, and I would like to the uneducated, like to the non-Star Wars person, sounds like I'm just doing a fucking Jamaican accent and making fun of somebody and being insensitive. So that's the main part of it to me, where it's like, how does this translate into lit? I would almost rather them go back and redub everything with like fake alien voices and put the subtitles in of the. You could put the exact same wording in without the accents. All works out, because yeah, sure, the stereotype of the guy who of the scrawny, money grimy guy, you just put that Jewish Brooklyn accent on him and it just sounds grimy and it sounds unnecessary, and when you hear it, it's just it stinks.
No, I mean, you make a good point, but like I said, this is a new notion to me. I have no idea that this was an issue up until, like I said, 2 years ago, so it's something that I'm like continuously thinking about, but completely I've missed this growing up. Like it was just a weird alien voice.
I definitely missed it growing up too. It's just to the top of my list.
Wait, fun fact: you can actually buy a cameo of the voice of Watto talking as Watto to you.
Oh well, that's money I won't spend. Matt, any final thoughts on this before we move to yours?
You nailed it on the head, Bogz.
Perfect, Matt. Your number one most cringiest moment in all of Star Wars.
Now that I'm with you again, I can't stop thinking about you. I just want to fuck that. That is the most cringy, gaslighting bullshit scene I have ever fucking seen.
And you're of course referring to
Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. When Padme is dressed like a fucking dominatrix in a black dress.
True. She's got the headband on.
She's got the headband on. She's got that black wrap that's connected to the dress, and it's skin tight, and it makes Natalie Portman look like she has a chest.
It's like, oh, stop it, Anakin.
Yeah.
It's,
I need you.
Yeah.
God, one of the worst scenes George Lucas has ever directed.
And imagine that room is like actually just like a chair in a room full of green and blue.
See, that one isn't. That one is actually on set somewhere.
Is that in Italy? Is that when they
that's
were
one
in
of the
Italy?
scenes in Italy. Yeah.
The actual look of it, I think it looks beautiful, man. Like they're in Naples, I believe, like in Italy, and the music's like swelling, and I think that's what I fall for that stuff. So I kind of purposely don't hear the dialogue, because it's like, oh my god, it's beautiful. So yeah, I let that one slide. But any other thoughts before my number one?
I just wish it would have been Obi-Wan and Satine.
Oh.
No, so I didn't touch any Clone Wars.
No. I wish I would have rather have seen them two in that moment and them actually be able to talk.
Oh man, wow, it's a good shot. Yeah. No, but see, like my number one makes me angry as opposed to cringe. I don't know if that's the purpose of this list, but it does like a little bit offend me. In fact, do you guys? It's from episode 8. Okay, do you guys want to guess what it is?
Yeah, it's probably Luke Skywalker throwing the lightsaber away.
I was gonna say it. Colin was gonna say.
You're 100% right, my friend. You're 100%.
I know
right.
you.
Yeah,
really
I'm surprised, man. Like you wasn't annoyed at me for my number 2, my number 3, man. So yeah, I mean.
These are the things that I have issues with The Last Jedi. I hear what you're saying. It's not what you expect. And then only for it to, you can say, if we want to break down like the filmmaking aspect of the moment, right? If you want to talk about what the moment does for the film and then what it spawns later in the movie, it spawns within 10 seconds a jump cut for Porgs to jump on it and for us to continue to dispute, where is the igniter button on that lightsaber? Is it the button or is it the thing on the hilt? We don't know. And we've continued to debate this over and over and over again. And the Porgs are just jumping on it. You're waiting for the one Porg standing in front of the lightsaber to get ignited. Right? He's put his head down towards it, so he's going to die. And then Rey just comes and picks it up.
Edited that scene.
And that's it. So, Bogz, I'm with you. It's pointless, but what else, like...
It's important, though.
No, so, okay, let me go.
I wish you would have caught it.
Yeah, so like I think this scene has bigger ramifications for the rest of the movie. So, for example, not only forgetting this is the most iconic weapon of all time. Okay, throws it over
It
your
is
shoulder, right?
Excalibur.
Yeah. Okay. Literally. So, so bear in mind the ending of episode 7. Yeah, that really like that cliffhanger of just ending with him taking his hood off. Again, I mentioned 100 times. I know Colin's bored of me saying it. Luke's my favorite character of all time in all movie history. I couldn't wait for my whole life for him to come back. And this was like the starting, or well, actually the opening scene was, which I mentioned previously. But this was the major continuation of this movie of subverting expectations, and so the most probably the most pivotal point of the sequel trilogy. They turned it into almost like a silly joke, and I didn't appreciate that. I don't tune in for Star Wars for them to subvert my expectations. They don't do it in any other movie. They don't do it with any other character or kind of notion or theme or storyline. So they've done it all over this movie, and it just annoyed me throughout. And this isn't this. So this is the next scene. So technically, again, this is not even said a line.
It's literally a wipe. It is a wipe into this scene, and then you see the water on Octu, and it pans to the island.
And his last spoken lines in this timeline is him speaking to his father in Return of the Jedi, right? And the next kind of moments we have with him is him throwing his lightsaber away, man. It's like, it's so frustrating of what it leads like. And it's like the way I've compared it, it's like, imagine seeing Aragon in the end of, we mentioned Lord of the Rings, right? I don't know why I made this note of Aragon, but I think it's a good comparison. So seeing Aragon in the end of Return of the King, aka Luke in Return of the Jedi, and 30 years later, he's just so disrespectful and like of his legacy, and like he's just like an old hermit who's an alcoholic and that kind of thing. Like, no, we're past that state. Like, this is him now, and I just didn't like this iteration of him. And yeah, I mean, there's so many aspects of it like that I've got issues with.
I guess if we want to have a bigger, like a bigger conversation about it, it's the unfortunate cycle of this story. No one in this saga gets a full, complete journey. We don't ever see anyone's full, complete, like at least like success.
Sure.
You don't, right? Like, you don't ever really get to see that. You meet Obi-Wan. If anything, it's Obi-Wan, kind of, but we're gonna get more filled in for Obi-Wan, so he's probably gonna have the most complete story out of anyone. Once you get to like meeting him,
right?
meet him, grows into the hermit, and then and then he dies. But you don't get to see him. You don't get to see what he fights for, and you don't get to see him see it be a success. Right? Yeah. I think that's something. I think that's a lesson of episode 8 that I don't think gets across, is that this is a cross-generational story where the motive of it, or the motif of the story is, you fight for what you fight for until the very end. No matter what that end is, even if you don't get to see tomorrow, you keep fighting for what you're going to fight for. And I think that's what Luke does in 8, but it's unfortunate because you catch him, Bogz, right where you don't want to see him most, because you already see him interact with Yoda like that. And unfortunately, we just didn't get, like, I think the whole Luke thing would have been fixed if you just see a Force Ghost of Luke and a Force Ghost of Leia put their hands on Rey's shoulder, and then all the Force Ghosts come in behind them in episode 9, and the whole thing's a little bit better.
Which apparently is shot, but you know.
Oh, well, well then screw me. But I'm with you, Bogz. It sets the tone for the entire film if you're not already... If you're off board on the first scene, and then the second scene comes back around, it's kind of like going 0 for 3. If you're 3 and out. In football, in American football, we got 3 and out.
I know, Matt, you haven't gone yet, but just my last point on this is that it's just that the Luke just in Return of the Jedi with his father sacrificing, when no one else believed him, when Yoda didn't believe him, Obi-Wan didn't believe him, the rebellion didn't believe him, he still saw the good faith in his father. And then when it comes to the point of Ben, like, he's willing to kill him in his sleep. Like, what? No, man. Like, no. And it started in this scene. Like, I could see it coming.
I will push back on that, because there's a difference in the situation. Luke had just spent almost his entire life after that point to build where he's at that moment.
Okay.
And to see that possibly get taken down by your own family member, It's gonna.
He didn't get taken down.
Like,
he didn't. He was like, "Oh, I have a force vision. Maybe this might happen, and so I'm gonna kill him in his sleep." Luke, this is Luke with Grogu. Come on, man. No. This ain't. This is Jake. Oh, no, I'm just
when Snoke has already corrupted his mind, it did. Snoke had already gotten to him. It was a matter of how and when. But the thing is, Luke still stopped himself because he remembered who he was, who he is. And it's just unfortunate that Ben saw him at that one moment of weakness, and then everything he thought was going to happen happened after that. Luke was still the same person. Just like
it's like seeing your parent. It's like I've never seen this. But it's like if your parent cheats on a parent, and you're like, you see like, oh, this is bad, but I don't want to. It's just like, no. It's kind of.
Okay, I hear you, Colin. I hear you, and I understand what you're saying, Matt. But that's okay. That's one thing, right? Colin's saying I'm 0-3. Like it's too many. It's too many hits I'm taking, man. It's like
I'm not even the whole thing. It's not the first time we saw Luke in that exact fucking situation. You look at Return of the Jedi, right after he goes ham on Vader and cuts off his hand, he's about to make that killing strike, and he doesn't because he realizes once again who he is. That scene with Kylo Ren, with Ben, is a callback to that scene in Return of the Jedi.
I mean, you're stretching, but I understand.
No, it's less of a stretch because it's the start of that, and he doesn't go in on it, and they don't have a fight about it. He stops himself, and unfortunately, he ignited the.
It's the reverse of the
that point, Colin. I don't think he'd do that. I don't think that guy would ignite his lightsaber on his Leia's son, man.
He ignited it on his. He saw his dad though. If you see the vision,
yeah, well, he's fighting for his life there, right? That's like, come on,
It's literally
he could have seen him kill Han.
Wow, it's literally the situation in reverse though, to where they were already in a fight. Luke stops himself. They weren't in a fight. Luke ignites the saber instead of shutting it off. And then Ben sees it. It's the same scene, just turned on its head.
Like,
I'm seeing what he's saying. No, Bogz,
I hear, but like, why? Don't like the lightsaber, man, on your nephews. He's in his sleep, man. He's sleeping there.
Weakness.
Like, no, but come on, he's
human.
Yeah, but no.
Truly, I mean, there really isn't a lot of like Luke, like failing. Like, I mean, like really,
the first one, right?
Yeah,
he gets his hand cut off.
I mean, but then he gets saved. He just falls down a garbage chute, and then his sister picks him up. You can talk about cringe. How the hell does he survive that?
That CG isn't great as well.
CG's rough. That's real rough. that does not hold up well. But this list, I think, will hold up pretty well. I think we all have pretty good ones. And I think there's cringe all over Star Wars. Of course it is, because whenever you watch it, you find something else. The next time you see it, that makes you go, eh. Something that has not made me go, eh, is the new Claudia Gray Into the Dark book from the High Republic. Very excited to get into this. It's already started off on a better foot. It starts off
Claudia Gray, so
Claudia, right, exactly. It starts off before the incident that happens in the last book, The Light of the Jedi, where there's like an explosion in hyperspace. Something happens where the hyperspace lanes are all out of whack and everybody gets thrown out and different things. So this is all, everyone's going to have like a different point of view of this event. I think for the first year, I think we're probably going to be dealing with this like ramifications of what happened. So for Claudia Gray to start the book on Coruscant and to give you the footing of like, oh, and they're talking like, oh, the Coruscant now has the biggest Jedi temple in all of the known galaxy. Like, this is it now. Now they're talking about seeing the 5 spires of the Jedi temple. So it's built. It's all done up and built, but they're talking about the scaffolding and all of the buildings that are being built in Coruscant, and it's really starting to come up because of the Jedi temple and starting to become more of a hub for the galaxy. So it's nice to see that formation of stuff. I like to see kind of how like the stuff that I was kind of more attracted to in the Light of the Jedi book was more of the technology side of stuff and seeing how things differed between then and when we get to in episode 1. So I'll let you know how it goes. If you're in the States and you have a local library, it is on Hoopla, the digital library app, so you don't have to pay for it. But if you want to pay for it, don't buy it on Amazon. Don't buy it from Barnes & Noble. Go find a local bookseller. Go support your local booksellers because they need your help. But I think that'll do it for this episode of We Have the High Ground. Liz kind of got a little fighty there. We were kind of booking there for the first 3 rounds, and then we got to those last 2, and Matt and Bogz were like, "You're fighting."
We might need like a Last Jedi debate or like a watch along or something. That would be cool. But
I would love to do a watch along. That'd be fun. Maybe if pop culture universe gets we can start to maybe like a Patreon or something like that, and they can watch along.
A watch along for the sequel trilogy.
That'd be fun. We'd be into it. So throwing it over to our guest, Mr. Matt the Master Thomas. Plug away, sir. You have the floor.
You can find me on the Who Are They Real Entertainment Network on YouTube. I just did a review for the new Netflix film Malcolm and Marie last night. If you are a film fanatic, if you like John David Washington, you like Zendaya, you like Euphoria, check out that film. It's really fantastic. Just it makes you realize you need to appreciate your loved ones. You can catch me here when I'm doing We Have the High Ground with these 2 awesome guys right here. Mondays on Spin from the Real, Sundays on Real Talk, and starting on Wednesdays, starting next Wednesday specifically, we have our schedule drop or match drop for Really Trivia Showdown, which both these guys participate in. So yeah.
That we are. We are the greatest dyad the world has ever known. We are the ultimate dyad. Bogz, my other half. Where you at?
We all made Marion. Thank you very much. Just follow everything Matt is doing. He's. I've got nothing really to plug too much, but I will say that next week, however, next week's show we have the infamous. Of course, yeah. I'll come to that afterwards. Next week's show of We Have the High Ground, we have the infamous tournament winner in this space, Ace Cabrera. Andreas Cabrera is joining us for the show with Sol as well. So yes, it should be fun. And tomorrow, presuming this drops today, this episode drops today, we are live on John Roca's YouTube channel. Fantastic show yesterday. Thanks to everyone tuning in. It was super fun. Let's keep that up. That's tomorrow live 3 p.m. PST. We're talking all things Schmodown. So yeah, and
we have a really packed lineup for the Ultimate Schmodown show. It's going to be John Kaiser, manager of the dungeon, Winston Marshall, manager of Team Swag, and Eric Barnes, also known as the Warfather. Pack show. We're bringing it all. We're bringing the heat. Bogz and I, we're loading up now. We used to be throwing some change ups, some junk balls. No, we got some closing heat, 100 miles an hour pitches coming at y'all right now. We ain't playing around. And next week's list, Bogz, I mean, what's your first pick? I mean, what are you thinking next week? I'm thinking lightsaber battles.
Oh, you motherfuckers.
Lightsaber battles, I mean.
Or space battles, and we'll let Ace decide.
I kind of want to do music as well.
Music? I wouldn't mind music.
Songs, John music theme.
Save those lightsaber battles for when I'm on next.
Yeah, you are my lightsaber boy.
We can do that, yeah. Man, we need a debate. We need to ask Sol as well, see what she's saying, and could speak to Ace as well, see what he wants to do.
See what happens. But you can find us here next Friday, like Bogz said, same time, same place, usually around 5 o'clock Eastern is when this show drops. You can find me, Colin, at _C Morris, wherever I am sold, over in Pop Culture Universe, over on John Roca's YouTube channel, all over the place. I was on Shmoby the Money. Go check those guys out. I was on their show earlier this week.
It was a dope show.
Dope show. It was cool concept. I love it. We're always here. But remember, folks, we have the high ground. Bye.